show. It's not the old blue show. Old blue show. New blue show. New blue show. Show. It's not the old blue show. Old blue show. New blue show. New blue show.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 17 of the BigRedBarel.com PlayStation Podcast, episode 187 of The Blue Show. Joining
the homicide episode, murder.
Yeah.
Wow. Why didn't you do what we wanted you to do before the show started?
I rarely ever do what you ask me to do, and that is a rule to live by. Anyway.
That's how you got into this mess.
So, this is the week after E3, so this is the Scraps episodes.
Yeah, this is us, picking over the carcass of E3, really.
Yes. I want to be the turkey buzzard.
I want to be the vulture, jackal, hyena.
Damn. I didn't know you could mix animals.
I want to be what other animals pick carcasses?
Worms?
Yeah. Maggots.
All right, I'll be a worm. No, did you say maggot?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll be a maggot too.
Again.
I'll be a worm maggot.
So the only thing new I have two things to talk about personally. I finally finished Max Payne 3, and I found it hilarious. This is like the second or third time I've ever done this. I've not paid attention to where I am in the campaign of a game, but I'll stop someplace and save it, and then not play for several days, and come back, and there'll be like 10 minutes of game left, and then I'm done. And that's what I did with Max Payne 3. I had saved it not knowing that I was in the boss battle, and then came back and finished the boss battle, and I love the game. I'm going to play it again with free aim. I used the soft lock, the default setting, the first time. I'm going to go through on hard with free aim.
Hell yeah, man. That's how you got to play it.
So
that's how you got to play it, yo.
And I got into a certain little big beta that I can't talk about, but if I could talk about it, I would have good things to say. So
really?
Yeah.
What kind of planet are you on, then?
Well, I mean, it's easy to kind of remember Little Big Planet PSP in a good light until you see something and you're like, oh yeah, that's it. And then Little Big Planet PSP was like, you almost don't even want to acknowledge it as having existed. So I don't know. There's a lot more to be said. All I can say is that it was like, aha, this is what a portable should look like. And so we'll leave it at that.
Congratulations.
Yep. So what's up with you, Frawlz, in your Mr. San Diego?
Yeah, wow, even the intros are boring.
How warm is it down there?
It is about 70 degrees outside, maybe a little less, maybe about 68. But I can say that I went to Arizona last weekend. That was fun. I went to Arizona, Parker, Arizona, to be exact, and I did a tube run down the Colorado River. And they told me it was going to be about 5 miles down the river, which didn't seem like a lot until it found out that it was really 5 miles till we get to the actual people, and then another 5 miles to get to where we were going. So it was like a 10-mile tube thing going downriver, which wasn't very fast. And I'm pretty white, man.
You get sunburned
easy. I started freaking out. There's nothing to cover me. I'm like literally sunburnt, like all hell. And it's just it was no place for me to go. I just sit there and take it, like in 110 degree weather, the sun directly above me, and the only thing I had blocking me from the sun was a puddle of water on my legs,
forming a magnifying glass.
Yes, which made it worse. So yeah, how are you doing?
So what is this on the agenda? Do you care to explain that? What it says next to your name?
Went into the sewer, met a giant fish, his brains out.
Like a boss.
Oh, yeah, I haven't, yeah.
That line's been in several Lonely Island songs.
Oh, no, I'm totally, yeah, absolutely. No idea what you're talking about.
Jesus. Anyway, Pac-Man, what's up?
Other than laughing at Frawlz, I've been playing Max Payne 3 as well. And I gotta say this about that game. A lot of games have made it really easy to get trophies. Rockstar decided to give them out real slow when it comes to Max Payne 3. Instead of giving you a free trophy per level, they give you a trophy per section of the game, and I think there's 3 sections. And then you get extra trophies as you go up on the difficulty level, but the rest of them are pretty much get X number of this done or do this specialty sequence perfectly. So I didn't end up, not that I really care. I'm not going to go back and just try to platinum just cause, but it's not the game where you can just get mad trophies just playing through it the one time. And the other thing is, it's kind of crazy how much extra they threw in that game, because there's the single player, and then there's, I think, 2 unlockable difficulties, if not 3. And then you can play score attack, so you can get the highest score possible. And then you can play New York Minute. So you got 1 minute, and every time you get a kill, you get 6 seconds added to the clock, and you see how high you can get the clock before the end of the sequence. And you can do that for every level.
That's pretty badass.
And then you got multiplayer and all this other stuff. It's kind of... they really did try to throw everything they could in that game, but the single player is really what you're just going to end up going back and playing over and over again, because it's got some sick shootouts. And it's dark as hell.
Yep.
There's some really graphic in that game.
For the record, Frawlz is yet to complete the game.
Yeah, I have yet to get on easy.
He was the first one to get it.
I have to prod him because that's my job. It's in my contract.
I've been dealing with a bunch of crap.
I've been getting sunburned and burning my flesh in the sun.
I've been riding down the Colorado River getting my ass burnt off.
I left.
Is it weird though when I go tanning, I put a sock on my penis?
Is it like a little Barbie sock?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Is it like a booty?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, we need to get to this agenda because there is one story that didn't break during E3 week that just blows everything that happened E3 week away. And it's out of Activision. And they've announced that they are bringing something out that we've all been waiting for basically since the inception of video games. And it has to do with Angry Birds. And I know we had an Angry Birds released on the PlayStation 3 as a PSP Mini, but they are bringing Angry Birds HD to the PS3.
Holy balls.
That's a ton of pixels.
So when we get that, we need never buy another game again.
I don't think we're ready for this.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ready for another Angry Birds because they're all the same.
I hope it's in 3D.
Man, no, I don't know, man. It's too many polygons. Too many polygons.
That would be awesome if it was in 3D, I'm not going to lie.
It's so funny that they're going to release the game for the second time on the platform. But, oh well. Anyway.
It's all about money, man. It's all about the money, man.
They do make money, and if they don't charge much, people will still buy it. I was trying to think about how they should do it. Should they optionally include PlayStation Move support so you could use it to pull back your slingshot? I don't know. I was not a big fan. It technically was on, the PSP Mini version, or PS Mini version was technically on the platform, but it sucked compared to the smartphone version. Actually, they released 2 different versions. I got the suckiest of the 2, and apparently you could call up and complain and get them to transfer you to the less sucky version, but I was just like, I've got it on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh.
So. Anyway, Tokyo Jungle. Do you guys remember we talked about this a long time ago? It's a survival sim where you can pick an animal in a post-apocalyptic Tokyo and you can fight other animals. Like you can be a dog and you can fight leopards and gorillas and all kinds of other creatures. Well,
this doesn't seem legal.
It's a video game, Frawlz. It's legal.
Okay, that is true.
Anyway, this game actually came out in in Japan last week. A lot of people were curious how it was going to do. Apparently, it's sold like crazy, which prompted all the stories of where Sony was saying, oh, yeah, we're bringing that game out in North America and Europe. Yeah, it's totally coming out. They sold 110,309 copies in 1 week of this game. And when you see it, you'll see these little Pomeranian dogs fighting gorillas and crap. I don't know if there's gorillas.
You know
in the
what?
game.
I want that. Just that description sounds awesome.
And it's kind of like a 2D platformer with 3D graphics, like a 2.5D platformer. Sometimes they're called. But I see that you're, instead of having hit points, you have calories that you're not. It's like for health, I guess. But you have a max number of calories you can hold, and then as your calories go down, you get weaker, and you have to kill and eat to get your calories back up. It looks really bizarre, but we will be able to get it. I can't remember what the price was in Tokyo, but it's not a full price release. It's a PSN
and day
release.
one purchase. Pomeranians versus gorillas. Yeah.
Yep.
You guys are sick.
Yes. Well, that's beside the point.
I like it.
Speaking of sick, this next story is sick. Rockstar, we were just talking about Max Payne 3. Apparently, there's some asshats out there that like to cheat at those games, boost on the leaderboards. I guess there's an infinite adrenaline cheat. They've hacked some stuff. Rockstar's figured out the way they're going to deal with these people. If you are found cheating using, invincibility hacks, infinite adrenaline, score cheating, or anything else suspicious, and they catch you, if somebody reports you, you will be banned to forevermore play only with other cheaters.
That's awesome.
That's the best way to do it. If you want to screw around and cheat and be invincible, then what do you know? You're only going to play with other guys that are invincible. And it's like, we've been playing for 6 days and the score is 0-0.
Hackers!
But anyway, they give instructions. If you're playing with somebody and you think they're cheating, the best thing you can do is whip out your smartphone and start, video recording or take screenshots, or if you're on a PC, record a video. And if you email maxpayne3, that's the digit 3, .banhammer@rockstargames.com and include their platform, the cheater's gamertag or ID, a description of the way they're cheating, and they say, if possible, please include concrete evidence such as a video or a screenshot. They will take it over from there.
Nice.
I'm totally photoshopping some Frawlz's cheating videos so I can get him banned.
Yeah. You know what they're going to say?
He hasn't played online yet.
He hasn't even been on in a month.
But the thing about this I don't get is this must have been something they always had planned, because Max Payne 3 doesn't really have an online population where it would even matter if anyone was cheating. You know what I mean? Like, it's not unbalancing the population or the community, because about every time I've gone on, I've yet to play in a full party in a multiplayer game in Max Payne 3.
But you know what this might be? This might be the precursor to when GTA 5 comes out and online multiplayer is a bit more prominent. They may be feeling the waters a little bit.
Well, I'm not saying that the game is bad, but you're right. Set the groundwork for how everything's going to go with their new big title. It's unfortunate that more people don't play Max Payne 3 multiplayer, because it is fun. But when it's like only 4 or 5 players, and you don't really see the bullet time kick into effect or any of that kind of stuff most of the time. It's basically you just run, shoot, and take cover. It's not quite as engaging as it could be.
It's like Uncharted.
Well, you really need to sort of hit that sweet spot of a good number of people to really get the Max Payne feel of like dodging around and doing all sorts of crazy gun battle type shit. But I just haven't found a lot of people playing it. And the few people who are so, maybe those are the people who are cheating, because it's like you get into a match and almost everyone's got a relatively low rank, because there's not a lot of people to play with, and then there's a couple guys who have like maxed out everything and they have like a crazy super high score, so they either played a lot or they cheated, because they wanted to cheat so that they could be the best at a game that no one's really playing online.
Wow.
Which makes no sense.
It's like being the world's tallest midget.
Yep. All right, so there's been a lot of controversy. Maybe that's too strong of a word. There's been a lot of armchair quarterbacking, where people are making fun of Sony for copying Nintendo, and it's a fair call. Basically, they pointed at...
It might work, though, which is good.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing I was getting at. It may be true that they're copying, but they've taken a couple mainstays that Nintendo's used for quite a while, being Super Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers, and they're trying to take their stab at a legitimate attempt at recreating the magic those two franchises have on Nintendo's platforms. So, I mean, this is we're not breaking any news here, but with PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, they're trying to do their Super Smash Brothers, and with Little Big Planet karting, which people are coming away saying, it's a pretty solid karting game, and it's not just karting. They've added some stuff to it. They may be able to lure some people that may be a little disillusioned with the Wii U. Maybe they're going to jump ship and try a little PlayStation gaming for a while, but they can still get their fix for the karting that they've been used to in Super Mario Kart. So,
right.
I don't know. Are there any other platforms or any other genres or franchises that Nintendo just owns that you guys can think of?
Well, I mean, the other big ones are Zelda, Mario, and Metroid, I could see one of these because there's been a lot of great platformers on the small end, indie and above, but not full price titles. That I could see one of those developers making a really solid like Mario style platformer that if Sony put the money and the advertising behind, they could model it to go after Nintendo. But Mario's so intrinsically Nintendo, and that style is so big that game will continue to sell stuff for Nintendo for a while. But
well, sure. I mean, it's a mascot platformer, and Sony's they've gone generations with this. We don't have a singular mascot character.
Yeah, I mean that's what they'd have to do. But you could see them do.
I thought Crash Bandicoot was like one of them.
Yeah, but they sold the rights to that. Naughty Dog created Crash Bandicoot. Sony now owns Naughty Dog, but Universal owns the rights to Crash Bandicoot. It's not.
Yeah, Sony is behind mascots for a generation, but not. They don't carry a lot of them over.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends on what Sony wants to get behind and really push as that kind of a sell versus just your normal games because. If you just blatantly tried to, if you made a game and you could do Metroid type stuff, it would be kind of blatant. Like you'd have to do it really well. Or if you wanted to blatantly copy Zelda, you could. You can make a Sony version, but it has to be good. Because if it isn't good, then it's going to have the opposite effect of bringing in people. It'll actually make even more people think Sony's not cool.
Yep. Well. Sony's not stopping there. They're copying in Microsoft's footsteps too. They're running a promotion similar to Microsoft's buy a PC, get a free 360. Well, now Sony's offering you can get a free PS3 or PlayStation Vita or $200 off other PlayStation gear if you buy any of their Vio Series S, T, Z, or L laptops. So
interesting.
And the cheapest one is around $750, so the cheapest is not cheap. But if you happen to be in the market anyway, definitely check the promotions. You might be able to get a free PS3 or Vita out of it. So
at least they come with good warranties.
And they're stylish and spendy.
And they're thin, and they're still Microsoft.
Yeah. Speaking of Naughty Dog, ex-Naughty Dog co-founder Jason Rubin, the new president of THQ.
This guy, I'm not a fan of Jason Rubin right
I knew this one was going to get you. I think everybody that played Saints Row the Third liked it, but he came in and he's like, what in the hell is this game? This game is an embarrassment. Not the game itself, but the comedic tone it took and the maturity level. He's like, why would these guys artificially limit their potential, customer base by going so vulgar? And it's almost a sure sign that the next Saints Row will have a completely different tone. There'll be no Penetrator. There'll be no Zemos.
Well,
yeah, but that's the reason why people buy this thing, man.
That's what I thought.
But you got to look at when the original Saints Row and Saints Row 2 came out. That was a development house with significantly less money than GTA. There was no way that they could make a serious contender, make a serious game, third person, open world game and just have it. They needed something that they could do with the money and the resources they had. So making it silly and over the top was, basically what was their hook, their only way to compete against GTA and the like. And 3, that was the whole reason we liked it. I mean, that was how crazy insane that game was like the big selling point. That's why we recommended it to all our friends.
That's definitely, I mean, you and Dave basically got me to play that game, and I loved it. And it was completely inappropriate for my kids, and I knew it the whole time, and I still had a blast. So, I mean, they can still make a game that's less vulgar, that may still be as entertaining, but by far, that was the hook that got people's attention this time around.
Well, I mean, if they made a new, like a rebooted Saints Row or Saints Row 4 or whatever, as long as it's, as long as I still get to wear purple and do drive-bys, I'll give it a shot.
Well, my guess is the violence can still be
that's
good.
the same thing as Grand Theft Auto, though. It's going to be trying to be serious. Like it's kind of like I feel like it makes fun of Grand Theft Auto in a way.
I think it does, yeah.
It's kind of like it's a parody version of it,
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what people want. They want over-the-top humor. They want to go in there and laugh and have fun and just feel immature. They're not going to want to go in there and join street gangs and, try and run the town.
And the new GTA better let me have a criminal empire again. That's all I'm saying.
Again.
Alrighty. Well, that topic kind of pisses us all off.
Whatever, man. I ruled San Andreas with an iron fist.
But, I mean, seriously, though, he's the new president. How much say does he really have in that? I mean, there's like a board that he has to go through. I don't know.
Well, he's been brought in to be the new Hammer of God at THQ, right?
Yeah, he's trimming the fat and lining the troops up to do what they need to do.
Yeah, but he's going after the one series that actually is doing well. I mean, it's the only one series that has nothing to do with MMA or wrestling. It's like, why doesn't he just go after those?
Well, they got rid of their MMA license. They've got one more game in the works, and then they're done with it. Or UFC.
Thank God.
But
anyways.
All right, so somebody was talking to Jack Buser at Sony Computer Entertainment America and asked them basically, hey, what's the deal with all these changes that were coming to PlayStation Plus? When's the other shoe going to fall? And basically he said, everything that was there is there. Everything's going to stay there. The only difference is you're getting more games. And I don't understand how they were able to do it. Obviously it must cost money for them to give us these games at no additional charge, when before, if you wanted those games, you had to buy them. So somebody somewhere is making less money, but I'm not going to argue. My guess is still at some later date, maybe later this summer when they roll it out on the Vita, they still may make an additional tier. But, I've downloaded my 25 gigs worth of those games last week or the week before, and
man, it's way more than 25 gigs. I mean, freaking Ratchet and Clank is 14 gigs, son. That's massive.
I had a couple of games already downloaded, so it was only 25 for me. But
oh man, it's like. But the thing is, a few of those games were still selling for a reasonable amount in the stores.
Mm-hmm.
Like Warhammer's not that old. Infamous 2 is not that old either, and it's still selling. That was a great deal. Yeah, everyone is sort of expecting, and what's the catch? And the catch is, no, if you have PlayStation Plus, enjoy a whole bunch of free and it's good. And we're like, man.
That is definitely something that you will not see on the Xbox or the Wii. I mean, here's 12 games, and then...
Yeah, that'd be like, the Xbox. Like, they're like, here's a couple copies of Call of Duty and Halo for free, and a whole bunch of other reasonably rated games. Like, even Hard Corps was a sweet deal.
What was that game that they gave you on the 360 when Live was down over Christmas? It was something underwater.
Oh, it was
Undertow.
Some puddled Undertow. Yeah, that was it. Undertow. Those are the worst sarcastic gamer night we've ever had.
Oh, thanks for that free game. That was awesome.
That was awful. I think we lasted maybe 10 minutes, and everybody went to go play Rainbow Six.
Anything
after that.
else?
That was so bad.
All right, so I guess Oddworld Inhabitants was supposed to be remaking Abe's Odyssey, the first Oddworld game that I remember being released on the PlayStation 1. And during the process, I guess they decided, let's not do this. And now they're just making a completely new game. They're rebooting the franchise, which I think is probably wise because, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can get that as a PS1 download. And, they probably don't look so bad on the Vita once we get that functionality. I would not be interested in buying the exact same game again. So I think rebooting the franchise, starting with a brand new game, is probably a much better money-making proposition if they're interested in making money.
You know what? That could be good. I mean, I'm still waiting for... what's the other old game that got rebooted? XCOM. The good XCOM, not that stupid-looking shooter that I hope has basically died now. But the turn-based one that's coming out for basically, I think every platform. But that game looks awesome.
Very nice. Shut up.
Very nice.
I just remember being able to fart
You try
and make weird noises.
Is that what you try and do in your spare time?
Yep. Fart and make weird noises. All right. Hideo Kojima announced that his Fox engine will definitely run on the PlayStation 3. I don't think there was any doubt. Also, it'll work on the 360 and PC. He says that the lighting in particular in this new game engine is designed to more realistically simulate real light, so things will have a photorealistic look. And I don't know if you guys remember. I remember taking this. I don't know if it was a survey or if you just looked down a list and it didn't tell you at the end which was which. But it was can you tell which is a photograph and which is a Fox engine render? And regardless of which was which, you were like, damn, those are pretty freaking close. One of those is real and one of them looks almost real, and I can't say with any certainty which is which. So it'll be interesting to see what he's able to do with those. The only thing we know is he's working on a game that focuses on human issues and may be considered somewhat taboo. So, Frawlz, you will be reviewing that one.
Thanks. I like Taboo.
And human issues.
Well, that too. That's obvious.
As long as it's not like a Japanese version of Heavy Rain, we're good.
Scott Shelby.
Scott Shelby.
You ever seen that YouTube video of the Sean glitch at the end of the game where he just keeps yelling Sean?
Yes, that was hilarious.
Sean!
That's great.
He's like halfway a level away, and you can hear in the distance he's still yelling it. It's so funny because the volume fades appropriately as you get further and further away from him.
And it does like a close up on his face, and he's like, Sean! Sean!
Oh boy!
I was playing Draw Something with somebody the other day, and
you're that person still playing it.
Yeah. Well, but the word was balloon, and I drew a red balloon, and then I drew a black circle with a blue X on it.
Did you put a knot next to it?
And the person that got it knew exactly. I mean, they saw the balloon, but they laughed at the fact that it was a Heavy Rain reference.
Really?
Good times.
You had to play the game, Frawlz.
Yeah.
Sean!
I don't play that game anymore.
All right. Believe this. Hear me now and believe me later. Sony Santa Monica is working on a game that's not God of War Ascension. What are you doing, Frawlz?
No, I'm thinking this should have been in a rumor section.
Why is it a rumor? It's not a rumor.
Oh, okay.
And there is no rumor section. Anyway, one of the items.
It's
there isn't.
What? I just am agreeing with you. Like, I don't know why you keep stopping when I agree with you. Go.
They're listing attributes they want in a potential new hire, and they want experience in sound effects, AI gameplay scenario layout, and gameplay tuning, and then they listed magic distribution as
magic distribution.
Yeah. I don't have experience with magic distribution, but if I did, and all those other things, I could apply for this position. So I don't even know what it means.
Magically distributed a pearl necklace.
That's not magic.
Magic distribution. Okay.
Like osmosis?
Osmosis.
Frawlz is having his own conversation right now, completely unrelated. He's just grabbing words and working them.
This is because this agenda is like funny. I'm just sorry. This is. I think this is the only week I could probably goof off. I'm just serious. Go ahead.
Okay, just run it. What?
What's that?
Huh?
Niner?
What?
Brick 19. We're gonna need some backup. Over.
So somebody asked Scott Rohde, who works for Sony Computer Entertainment America, what is up with Uncharted? Why are you guys not doing an Uncharted game? And he's like,
why are you making no Uncharted game?
Sony owns the Uncharted IP. It's definitely a pillar franchise of ours, but we're not at a point where we can talk about it. And, Naughty Dog's got multiple teams. Sony's probably got a new system up their sleeve in the next year or two. It takes 2 years to do an Uncharted game. It doesn't take a genius to figure out probably they're the ones that are going to work on the first next generation Uncharted. But it's good to know that, they're clearly saying, of course, we remember the franchise and there will be more and it's ours and it's never going to come out anywhere else. So
yeah, they want to give The Last of Us a really good, amount of publicity.
The last big blockbuster is going to be God of War Ascension, and then the new one's going to come out. Just like the PlayStation 2.
You're just saying that because God of War was the last big game on the PS2.
That's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't they want to go out with a bang and then leave Uncharted as the next PS4, like a launch title?
If we're still sticking to the 10-year life cycle, that means we still got a good number of years left. Whereas God of War 2 came out, like the 8th year of the PS2?
It's quite a ways in.
Yeah.
Like really close to the end, whereas we're just barely past halfway through.
It wasn't the 8th year. It had to be earlier than that.
Really? I mean, my timeline's all f***ed up when I think about the PS2.
I'm too lazy to look it up right now.
But anyway, I don't think God of War will be the last hurrah for the PS3.
I would agree with Pac-Man. We don't even know... The Last of Us is going to come out after God of War. So we don't even know when it's coming out. But I think God of War, isn't it coming out March 12th?
Yeah, you guys might be right. I don't know why I threw that out there.
Yeah, Last of Us is not going to be out by then. It's going to be out afterwards. And I would not bet against Naughty Dog at this point.
I'm on my knees corrected.
You were already there.
I am on my knees, seriously.
Let's see. Did anybody
notice? We have
notice?
a shout out for a guy named LubeTube. I'm sorry. I just had to say that. Go ahead.
Your eyes were drawn to that, I see.
Yeah, I just saw LubeTube. I just went right to it. Keep going.
Did anybody notice that Sony didn't focus on 3D at all this year? Whereas last year, that's all they focused on.
I kind of said that when I went.
I was just wondering if you remembered what you said. So, yes.
Yeah.
It was kind of obvious in what they didn't say.
Well, as somebody that owns, I barely ever use it for this, but I do own a TV that can display 3D. I did notice it. But Scott Rohde, who apparently somebody just pinned down and asked a whole bunch of questions to, he was the one that chimed in on this again. He said it's not just necessarily the focus... that quote doesn't even make sense. It's not necessarily the focus and newsworthy. Last year it was. So I guess that is, they were making a big deal that, hey, we can do that. And they did have an internal initiative, come to find out, that they were really encouraged to support 3D last year. This year it was a little lax. It's like, if it makes sense, do it. But if it doesn't make sense, don't do it just to do it. We're running out of 3D stickers to put on the boxes. We want to make them count. So I made that part up.
I know.
But
I think we all figured that out.
But that was also the last hurrah of Sony and all their TVs.
We need to push all our TVs that aren't selling.
Yeah.
But God of War Ascension, Sports Champions 2, and Little Big Planet Karting are the only 3 games that they proactively said, yes, these are in 3D. More may end up later, because I know in development, sometimes the tuning is a factor, and there were some games that they didn't want to confirm 3D support until late in development. So some of the titles we've seen that haven't been announced as supporting 3D may still. We'll just have to wait and see.
And I still don't have a 3D TV, so wimp.
Well, they've had some crazy deals on those PlayStation 3 displays.
Neither does Rothbart, though. You have a 3D monitor.
Well, but when I game right in front of it, it's the same difference. But I've seen that $500 TV for as cheap as $250, I think, on sale. So $250 is not bad for the PlayStation 3 display. That's really good for that display. I feel fine with what I paid for it. But anyway, on to some Vita news. Let's see. Shuhei Yoshida told Gamasutra that working with smaller developers on small games is crucial for the Vita's success. Yeah, small games, small developers, small system, portable gaming.
Games, period, is vital for the Vita's success. Just saying.
He is right. He did mention the pub fund. I know, Pac-Man, you're a big fan of what that's done for some of the indie games coming
Hell yeah.
to the PlayStation Network. So, I mean, they've got some good ideas, and they've got some good games, and they've had some good games come out. So I think they need to definitely, whenever they trim the fat, they need to leave the pub fund alone, because that's bringing them some exclusive small games. And, Frawlz, I think you've mentioned in the past that you don't like to see the giant console-type games on a portable. You like to see the smaller games.
I like a smaller portion of those big games. I don't want a giant game on there, though. No. Like I would like a sub story from like a side story from Uncharted or something like that.
You just killed the show.
Well, I mean, there's a place for Uncharted on a handheld, but...
And it was Golden Abyss.
Well, I mean, pushing the pub fund even further than their initial investment, because I mean that pub fund thing is basically only a year old, and it gave us Journey. It's going to give us Papa and Yo, or Papo and Yo, however you say it, and the Unfinished Swan. But what they need to do is keep capitalizing on those really sort of standout artsy games, and really sort of tackle some of the more arcadey stuff that Xbox Live still has the niche in, so stuff like Shadow Complex or whatever Xbox Live Arcade has. Get a couple of those, not copies, but something of equal good quality that Sony can get behind and help push on the Vita and the PS3. I'm curious how good some of these new games are going to be, because I mean the Unfinished Swan looks weird, and Papo and Yo looks weird too.
Sony is telling themselves, we're doing okay with the Vita. We could be doing a little bit better, but it's picking up steam. They announced that they have over 60 titles scheduled for release next year, which sounds like a crap ton, but then you realize there's 52 weeks in the year. That's less than 2 titles a week. It's like 1 point something a week.
Yeah, and you got to think, just like the consoles, most of those games aren't going to be good.
Yeah, they're going to be, there's going to be some stinkers in there. But still, I mean, it's better than hearing we've got 23 titles scheduled for next year.
Yeah. But at this point, I think people just want the games to actually be in their hands rather than...
I'm just a little concerned that there's going to be a glut again. Like, the launch for the Vita was pretty big. I mean, it was the biggest launch in history in terms of number of titles available day one. And if this next wave of titles all hit at about the same time, that's going to be kind of unfortunate when, gamers can only afford 2 or 3 or maybe 4 and 8 titles hit within a 2-month period.
Yeah, I mean, they really need to look at whatever their big titles for the Vita are going to be, and think very carefully about how they release them and when they market them out. Because you're right, because especially with the PSP, after the second year, it basically became couple good games, 6 months of nothing. Couple good games, 6 months of nothing.
Or like Frawlz, bought a PSP, got God of War. Wait for another God of War. That's all I got.
I hate how you know me so well. That's there was other games I wanted to buy for it. It was just it broke. Believe it or not.
Well, Pac-Man's like, why do you just buy one?
Yeah, man, that's why you have a backup.
It's so true. Like, why?
It's just like police officers have their that extra gun in like their ankle holster or something. That's where I'm rocking my extra PSP at all times, man. I'm never on.
You have a holster in your sock for your extra PSP,
Yes, I have a holster for my PSP.
All right, so Gamma Sutra kind of backs up Sony's description that things are looking okay for the Vita. They 2 weeks ago, Sony only sold 7,551 Vitas. That's pretty sad. But last week, that number increased by a lot, percentage-wise, to 13,383. So, absolute number-wise, still low. Percentage of improvement, phenomenal improvement.
Yeah, well, it's almost twice as much, yeah. But twice as much of a very low number isn't very good, but...
And I guess Namco's, I'm going to butcher this name, Kidu Senshi Gundam Seed Battle Destiny. Why can't they just name a game something like Uncharted?
Or if they're going to release it in North America, just give it a ridiculous generic North American name instead of that silliness.
That's because when it writes it out, it's basically like 3 Chinese characters.
Yeah. We're going to call it Gundam 7 when it's released in America. But they sold a little over 40,000 copies of that in a week. And it was a Vita title that was the 3rd highest software piece of software on the charts. So that's newsworthy if you're following the Vita.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about when we talk about the Japanese market versus here is, their buying habits don't really mesh the same way North American buying habits are. Because in Japan, it's like, it's all or nothing. If a game's big, it's big. Or it's dead. I mean, there's so little in between, and they're very quick to have a new favorite game.
MotorStorm RC got an update this week. It made me laugh. One of the things it did is it added more tracks to the demo version of the game. That tells me they really want people to buy that game, and they're not buying it.
DLC for free versions.
They also increased the opportunities to share challenges to entice people to come play the game they're clearly not playing and buying, and the ability to recover lost medals. And I'm not sure whether this is a game mechanism where you lose medals in the game, or if there was a bug and they fixed it and now you can get your medals back. The description wasn't very clear. But that update applies to both the PS3 and the PSV versions. So if you play you some MotorStorm RC, go get you some patches.
Yay, patches.
Speaking of patches, Frawlz, the Vita has firmware 1.69 out. It's optional and it does nothing. I thought
it's optional. I doubt it's optional. Those things are it's optional if you don't want to play online.
It's optional, and if you install it, you'll notice no changes. That's the kind of firmware you like. You should get a Vita just for that.
It's a stability patch.
So, anyway, no rumors because E3 was last week. We should get right to the shout-outs so we can get to our bonus content, which is going to be amazing. An amazing continuation of 2 weeks ago.
Oh, God. I don't want to continue this.
I know you don't, but I want to give a shout-out to Wolf Girl Z, or Wolf Girls, Zolsica, Cool Jacket Man, Princess P, and RTI Apollo. Frawlz?
Wow. I want to give a special thanks to Marky, 75 from the UK. Dickens, Dickens. Jesus. From Twitter, your mom says, are these for real?
I see them. They look real to me.
All right, from Twitter, and LubeTube from Twitter as well. Yeah, he knew he was getting one, but that's Pac-Man.
I'd like to give a shout out to the Loveman24. Shout out to good old I Yield to No One. Shout out to Ognock, OG Knock, OG.
Did you say Hobknocker?
He's an original gangsta knocker.
He is. Hi. I want to knock them knobs.
And shout out to Mariko. And this weekend on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern onwards, just send me a request and I'll get you into our Starhawk Gamer Night, which may or may not turn into Max Payne 3 Gamer Night as well, should we gather enough people to make it worth venturing into Max Payne 3. But for whatever reason, when I try to host Starhawk, it's like, no, f*** you, you're Canadian, we don't care about you. So I basically have to have someone else host the match, and then I just invite people in. I either add you to the friends list or someone else will get you in the party. But we had a good number of people the last time we ran Starhawk, and then we merged groups with some of the other communities. So it's tons of fun, and Starhawk is just way, way, way better when you're playing with friends than when you're playing with pickup groups. And Max Payne 3 is a blast online if you can get people, so hopefully that'll work out as well. So Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern onwards, I'll put the details on the dynamic calendar on BRB's front page, and I'll tweet about it. But on the night itself, you have to hit me up on PSN if you want an invite. I will not be checking Twitter once I'm on my PS3. And that's all I got. Episode 187, brah!
All right. Well, if you have an iOS device, hit up your iTunes Marketplace, download the Big Red Barrel podcasting app. If you have an I already said iDevice. If you have an Android device, I think currently you still have to go to the Amazon Android Marketplace. Do a search for BigRedBarel.com. You'll find our app. We record bonus audio every week. That's the only way you can get the bonus audio. You spend a few bucks on an app, you get an extra 10 to 15 minutes of our shows every week. That is...
Yeah. Is that a blessing or a curse?
It is a blessing for those listening and those arguing against you.
It's a 50-50. It really depends on the episode.
This one's definitely going to be the glass half empty episode.
Something tells me you're not prepared. Anyway, we're about to record that audio, so we will see you guys next week for episode 188 or 18.
188. All right. Well, Frawlz in your mouth. Have a good weekend.
Stay frost, everybody.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarel.com.